What's up to all those alone in the zone? It's Sketchator, not to be confused with Skeletor. John Eli Lopez, back once again on a mission to get you one step closer to being the king or the queen of the pencil. And today we'll be covering cartoons with some easy to follow concepts. If you'd like to follow along, all you would need is a pencil, paper, eraser, and sharpener. Okay, so let's get into it. Your stick figure. I've seen people do it with 3 legs, long necks, and this is one of the most common mistakes right here. An easy way to correct this mistake is to add a collarbone and a pelvis, and joints for where the elbows are and the knees. So even though it's a stick figure, you can still have it proportioned well, right? And proportioned correctly. And the difference between the male and female, the shoulders are wider on the male and the pelvis and hips are more narrow than the shoulder. And the opposite for females. The hips are usually a little wider, and the shoulders come in a little more. And this is a good way to remember this concept, right? It's for when you are doing male and female, right? And just keep that in mind, right? So as we move on to the, depending on the movement and the position you are putting the body in, usually you add more character when you have opposing shoulders and hips, right? So if one is aiming down, the other one is aiming up. So keep that in mind. So the stick figure, you look at it as the skeleton that lies underneath your character, right? So if your stick figures are off, your character will be off. So that is how you build up your sketching and how you build up your character by keeping these things in mind. And if you're doing a realistic character, uh, on tutorials you see they'll say it's 6 to 7 head lengths. In the world of cartooning, it's average 4 head lengths. And of course, you can add another head to make a taller character, or take away a head or two or a half head and make a shorter character, right? So once you keep these things in mind, this will make your life much easier, right? So if you watch the underlying thread under these two characters, for the male, the shoulders are wider than the pelvis, and the opposite for the female. Pelvis are wider than the shoulders, right? And there you go. And with this in mind, you can take any shape and create a character, right? So I'll take a simple shape as a triangle, and you don't have to stay in that geometric form. You can warp these shapes. So I wanted to start with a shape that everybody knows, which is the triangle. Then you see I warp it here to the left, and I'm going to create a character out of that. And as you see here, we have the older woman here, right? And I'm going to move on to a pair. So you can take any shape and create a character from. We're going to create an older woman in a big skirt, one of those old timey skirts, right? If I flip the pair upside down, same shape, wider shoulders, narrow pelvis, and we create a different character, right? So keep those things in mind. And another concept I wanted to cover here is the action line. You can have the same position, but depending on how you are setting up the underlying structure of your character, that will determine the look of the character. So if you see my action line here, I have a curvy one and then one straight and angular. It has angles on it. Same concept. The character's sitting down. One is more rigid and one is more loose. Right? The underlying action line. So this is one action line here, and you see my character, she's laid back. Action line. It's flowing through the entire body here. All right. And this concept is the beginning of either doing it correctly or totally wrong. And I see so much people do it totally wrong, especially when you are doing it in the world of cartooning. And I'm going to end it here with body language. I'm going to try to put all these things into one. The underlying structure. So this determines the mood of your character and the message you're sending. Of course, you can speak through your body without saying a word. So keep these things in mind. Gonna end it with that. She is has like a indignant kind of look on, and he has a confused look. Like he was turned away and he does not know why. Right? So keep these things in mind. And a quick recap would be the collarbone and hips. The difference with that, the different underlying shapes of your characters, the opposing shoulders, the opposing joints, the action line, body language, and one of the other concepts was the head lengths. So as you're doing your characters, keep these things in mind. I had a previous video where I went over facial expressions. So you put these two things together, you'll be knocking out some unique characters in no time. Try some other shapes, try some different body languages, and we are done. Very nice. I hope you guys got some value from this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button, smack the like button, leave a comment. Any feedback is appreciated. So until next time, John Eli Lopez signing out. Y'all be good and be safe.